Well, hello. As I promised that I will post a guide about the projects for this course. So here I am. I'm going to work on those for those who haven't submitted their project work yet. The idea here for project number one is very, very simple. We do have 21 eggs and we have two players. We have Adam, we have Oliver. Each one of those two players are going to take turns. And each one of those players can pick from 1 egg to 5. I think that's, yeah, from 1 egg to 5. Now, as those two players alternate in their the number of eggs is going to be reduced depending on the number of eggs that has been picked by each one of those players. So you can see here, I got 21, Adam picked 2, so I got 19 left. So you're going to keep going in that way. Of course, the player must choose a number greater than 0 and less than 6. Now, if a user chooses a number of eggs that is greater than the number of eggs available, so he should get a message. But in this example here, everything was okay, no problems, and Adam was a winner. Here we got this case here, we got 14 eggs left, and then it was Adam's turn, and then he picked 7 again. 7 is not acceptable, so he should be asked to return back and enter a number that is acceptable. You can see here we got 3 left eggs, and he picked 4, and then he went and chose 3, and then Oliver. Now, the game by itself, you can think about it as a stupid game because there's nothing so special about this, but I want you to put this in a form of a code. Well, let me just list some challenges here. The biggest challenge, or one of the challenges, is how do you change players? Like you move from player 1 to player 2, okay? That's one way to do it, to think about it. But here is an idea. You can think about one of the players as 1 and the other one plays as 0. Instead of having the names, you can treat the names in a form of a number. We see you just decide which number represent which player. That's one of the ways. You need to create some variables. I will say the first variable you're going to create is the total number of eggs. So that's the total number of eggs. That's going to be your first variable. And you will have a while loop that will go as long as this number is greater than, or greater or equal 0. Whenever the value change, or as long as this value doesn't equal 0, there's multiple ways to do that. As long as that value doesn't equal 0, you're going to keep going until it actually does equal 0. That's where you're going to leave. I'm not going to write any code, but just to explain what you have to do here. So I will have a variable for the number of eggs, and then I'm going to use that number of eggs in a form of a while loop. And then inside this while loop, you also going to have to ask, you're going to have to find a way to alternate between those two players. So one time with one iteration in that while loop is going to be the first player, and then when you go to the next iteration, it's going to be the second player, and so on. How do you get that done? It's going to be your decision. I can think about one way to do that. If I decided, for example, that player, I'm going to go ahead and create an integer. I'll say this is a player, and I'll set player 2 equals 0, and that basically means we're talking about Adam, for example, here. And then inside this while loop, I am going to have to change that player from 0 to be, for example, 1. And then after that, you go back to 0, and then you go back to 1. So you alternate between those two players with every single iteration. How do you do that? How do you change the player to be 0 and to be 1? Well, one way to do that, let me just think. I can use this. I can say player equal, and I'll open the parentheses here. And this area here, for example, if the player is 0, then the next player is going to be 1. Otherwise, it will be 0. Okay? And let me try to remember. I'm missing something here. Oh, this has to be here, question mark. So at the bottom of your while loop, you can alternate between those two players. And look, this is basically what I'm saying here. I'm checking if player, well, I can put it this way. Player equals 0. If the player was 0, then you're going to change it to be 1. And then when it's going to be changed, and you're going to go with the iteration, and when you come back, player is not 0 anymore, it's going to be 1, and that's going to be false, so you're going to switch back to 0. So if you imagine this is your while loop here, and then this is the body of your while loop, at the bottom of your while loop, you need to actually have this statement here, so you can change between players. And at the top here, of course, you're going to have the integer for the total eggs. And then you need to have another integer for the player. And then you can set that player to equal 0 at the beginning. And remember here, 0 is for Adam and 1 is for Oliver. And this is what you're going to do whenever you want to show the message. You just check the value of players, and if it's 0, show a message about Adam. If it's 1, show a message about Oliver. And this is how you alternate between those players. Now, in this area here, what you need to do, you need to ask the user or the player to enter a number of eggs. Now, we have to check that number that's going to be entered by that player. You have to check and see if the user entered a number that's acceptable first. Then you go ahead and subtract that number from the total number of eggs, and you check after that. Before you get to this point, check if he's a winner or not. So if I want to say if this while loop, I want to divide this while loop into 3 main areas. This is where we would say they're going to see user input or player input. And then you're going to have to make sure the player is going to enter right value. So basically, in this area here, you need to have another while loop. Why do I need another while loop here? Because you're going to have to repeat asking the player to enter the value correctly. It will make more sense to use a do while loop actually in this area. So we go do while. Okay, in this do while loop, you basically going to ask the user to enter the value for the number of eggs that he's choosing, and this while in this Boolean expression in this area is going to define if the user entered the value correctly, then you're going to keep going with no problems. If he made a mistake, if he entered a number that's less than 1, or he entered the value greater than 5, or he entered a value that is greater than the number of eggs that are left. Okay, so if let's say the user entered a right value, a correct value, then you're going to come here and update the number of eggs. Okay, so he entered a value that's acceptable, and you change the total of eggs. Going to be total eggs. Oh, that basically means here I need to actually have another integer. I will just say player input, for example. And this is where you're going to ask the user to enter some values, and then you're going to subtract this player input from the total number of eggs and update the total number of eggs in this area. And then after that, you're going to come here and going to check if that current player is a winner or not. If he's a winner, that basically means the total number of eggs are left 0 after the final pick. And if you find a winner, all you have to do is to announce the winner and then leave this while loop. So I hope this explanation helped a little bit. And now I'm going to be moving on to the next one. In this second project, I know it looks really long, but it's not that complicated. Let's just try to simplify it as much as possible. So what I'm asking you here, there's a long introduction about where is this all coming from. The whole point here is I just want you to create, oh, this is not a Java, it's supposed to be C++. I don't know where is this coming from. I created this application asking for Java before, so I'm just using it for C++ now. I want you to create a C++ class. And I gave you UML. UML here could help you a lot, even though it looks really long, but believe me, it's not that complicated. So you need to go ahead and create a class. I call this class creature. It's a part of a video game. and I listed the elements inside that class. As you can see here, we talked about classes the last week. So you can see here, I do have those are my private data types. You can see here we got this type, strength, weakness. Those are the return data types. Boss, Boolean, life, Boolean, size, Boolean, health, integer, integer, and attack string. And then I had a list here of all the weaknesses, all the attacks, and all the creatures. Those are going to be a static members. Well, I'm going to talk about static members in a sec. Then I got the creature class here. I got the setters of all these values. We got a lot of setters here, and then we got a lot of getters here, which basically makes it a little bit easier. I have a very special function called toString. I'm going to talk about that in a second. I got a function called attack and a function called attacked. Okay, so all you have to do is to go here and talk about and think about, okay, so this is my class and this is what I have here. Let's just go ahead and get more information. So I'm going to go and describe the class. All weaknesses, all attacks, and all creatures are predefined static arrays. Okay. Now, I didn't have a chance to talk about static members, but static members is basically when you can create those arrays and you just put the keyword static in front of it, and any element that is a static inside the class, that basically means that element belongs to the whole class and it doesn't belong to one object. What does that mean? That basically means this is a class called creature, so I can create creatures out of that class. And every single creature will have a type, will have a strength, weakness, and all these kind of details, except those. They don't belong to those creatures that you're going to create individually, but it belongs to the class as a unit. Okay, so I'm going to show you how is that done in a sec. So this is a list of all the creatures. This is a list of all the weaknesses, and this is a list of all the attacks that are doable. Now, I just give you here some definitions so we got a default constructor. Most of the data members need to be initialized randomly. Oh, that's the difficult part. So we usually said whenever you create an object that belongs to a class, you assign default values to those variables. But in this case, I want you to give them values randomly generated. But I'm giving you some details about that. Make sure to use the setters. Okay, whenever you want to assign those values, use the setters for it. Also, use the three static arrays. Use the three static arrays to assign the type, the attack, and the weaknesses. Okay, so what does that mean? We have those three arrays that I told you. That's going to contain the creature type, the attack, and the weaknesses of it. And here you can see we got a type, we have a string, and we have weaknesses. So what I want you to do, I want you to randomly select one value from here, one value from here, and one value from here, and assign them to those three different values. I'm going to be honest here. This is not hard, but it's just long. Okay, so I'm just telling you, for every single creature, those three values are going to be selected randomly from those three arrays. And for the rest of the variables, I am going to go ahead and show you some details. For example, the value of the string, the size, and the health should be between the range 25 to 100. The creature, if the creature is a boss, strength, so that's another feature. You're going to have to go randomly decide if the creature is going to be a boss or not. If it happened that the random chosen value for the boss, if he's boss or not boss, if he decided that it's going to be a boss, then basically you're going to have to put the strength, the size, and the health must be to the maximum. If he's not a boss, then all these values are going to be set between those two values. Life available should be set to true. Okay, so the life variable, which is this one, basically this is going to be turned to be false whenever that creature is dead. So in this area here, I described the constructors and how you're going to set all these values. And then here, there's two functions I said that's going to be here. One of them is, where is it? Attack and and attacked. So attack is basically when you attack, and attacked when you get attacked. Now, since we're just talking about the creature, we're going to focus on attacked. Let's see here. The method, before we get to that point, the method toString will return a string about the status of the creature. So there's a function called toStrings. It's going to return a string. You're just going to have to return a string that holds all the values. It's going to tell you what type of string it is, what is his strength, what is his weaknesses, is he a boss, all these kind of details should be returned in the form of a string using the toString method. Now, the creature attack method, oh, here it is. The attack method returns an integer which is calculated as following. So if you're going to have to go here, this is where it becomes a little bit complicated, is every single attack, we have a list of attacks. If you go here and see them, here they are. Every single attack will return an integer value. And that integer value indicates how much health is going to be taking from that other object that you're going to attack. See, this is where I was talking about object-oriented programming. So now I'm going to create a creature. Later you can create, for example, the hero, and then you can make them randomly fight each other. Okay? And then when the creature attack the hero, for example, depending on what type of attack does he have, each attack will take some of the health of that hero, depending on the type of attack that creature did. So I want you to find a way, how do you put this, depending on the type of attack that creature have, and again, it should be one of them, not all of them, one of those values should be returned. This is a perfect case for a switch statement. Note that you can use array, the array, all attacks to calculate and return integers. Use the index. Okay, yep, this is what I'm saying here. If you know the location of those arrays, this is one way to do it. If you're going to go switch, that's okay. But if you know the location of those elements inside that array, you can use that to do the calculation. If you choose not to do that, it's up to you. Now, as I said here, the attack method will be called when the creature is attacked by a hunter. This method updates the health of a variable as following. First, check if the creature is live. Okay, so whenever this attack method is going to be called, you're going to have to check if the creature is alive, because if he's dead, then there's no point of this. But if he is alive, you have to actually, let me see here. If the string parameter presents the attack of the hunter, okay, so you're just going to pass a string to that get attacked or attacked. Match the creature weaknesses, subtract 10. You know what, here, this part is related to something that we're not going to be covered here. So you can totally ignore this part. Okay, you can totally ignore this part. If you choose to do it, that's okay. But if you want to ignore it, I'm okay with that. The idea here is when you're going to call the function get attacked, the hunter is going to send, the type of attack is going to be added, and then based on the type of attack, 10 points is going to be subtracted from the health of the creature. Otherwise, it's going to be 5 points. So what do I mean by that? We said here weaknesses. Where is it? Weaknesses. So every single creature will have a weakness. Now, when the hunter is attacking that creature, if he's using an attack that matches the weaknesses of that creature, then you subtract 10 from his health. Otherwise, just subtract 5. In this method, you need to make sure that the health will not be below 0. Of course, whenever the health creature goes to 0, that basically he's dead, you have to immediately go and change the live variable to false. Now, here's what I wanted you to know. I can answer that question, but that will take a long time. But I want you to do it yourself. If you look at this whole project as one unit, yes, it's overwhelming and you will get really, really confused. But here's what I want you to do. For now, just go ahead and create this class. And then after that, think about all these methods one by one. So for my part, I'm going to help you with the part of creating the class. This here is my project, and I'm going to immediately come here and create a new class, header file, sorry, and I'm going to call this header file creature. Let's put it as an uppercase C. And here it is. So we said, and every time I want to do that, if and defined creature underscore H has to be uppercases. So let's go ahead and do that. creature. Let's take that away. If not defined, then define. And let me copy this and put it down here. And just to not forget, and if. In this area here, I'm just going to include IO stream. I know for sure I'm going to need that. I am sure I'm going to need a string as well. And I'm going to use name space std. And here we go. This is the part where I'm going to create my class. Oops, sorry. Case creature. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to come here and say public. I'm going to come here and say private. And then I'm going to start listing my elements. Now, if I go back to the Word document, I know those parts are all going to be private because of this hyphen here, and those are going to be public. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it here. And let's go ahead and start changing stuff. So first of all, this is going to be a string type, and put semicolon here. And I'm done with that. This is going to be an integer strength, and put semicolon here. And then this is going to be string again, weaknesses, semicolon here. And you know, you're just going to have to go with the rest of them. Let me just go ahead and do that. BOL, another BOL, another integer, another integer, and another string. Now I'll just take this away, this one away, this one away, and let's put the semicolon here, semicolon here, semicolon here. Take this away, take this away, take this away, put this back, and integer string. Now, what is that? Let me just go back and check. After size, there's health integer. Oh, wait a minute, I typed this in the wrong place. Should be here. So let's take this away. Semicolon here. And then attack, which is a string. Semicolon here. Now those are arrays, and those are static. Yeah, I can keep them here. That's not a problem. So I'm going to come here, do this. A static string weaknesses, all weaknesses. So let me cut it from here, and I'll put semicolon here. Same thing here with the attacks. Let me copy that, put it here, and then put it here. So we got all attacks, and then we have all creatures. Control C. Okay, take that out. Now what can we do? We can come here immediately and initialize them if you want to. Let's see here. For example, test. He doesn't like it. Yep, you cannot do it here. Has to be done in the implementation file. I'm going to get to this point in a sec, but let's just go ahead and put some numbers here because we know the numbers of those arrays. So let's go ahead here. How many creatures do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6 creatures. And then how many attacks do we have? 1, 2, Oh, sorry, attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, wait a minute. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. This is 6. This is 7. So we have 7 attacks. And then weaknesses. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 weaknesses. So here we go. I've got this part covered. Now, after that, I need to come here and go and copy those methods that I have, which is going to be a long list of methods. Now, remember here, all I have to do is just to put them in a form of prototypes. So here we go. I'm not going to do them all right now, but I'm just going to go ahead and put creature, uppercase C. Oh, wait a minute. I switched them. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put public here. And this is private. Okay, so we got a creature here. And we have another function here, void set type. And you're going to pass a string as an argument. And put semicolon here. Okay, so just for the sake of this video to not be that long, you're going to have to repeat all of this into each one of them. You take the data type, you put it here, and then you put a semicolon here, and you take everything out. Now that you're done defining your class, you can go ahead here in the resource, and you create a new CPP file. This time this is going to be called creature. Is it creature or creature? It's creature. And I'm done. You're going to come here and say include what did I just did here? Okay. .h. Okay. Now in this area here, I'm not going to implement any of those methods. It's going to be your responsibility to implement them. So after you're done creating all these what they call them, the prototypes, copy them from here. You come here and you put them in your, the CPP files, and you define them, each one of them. I'm just going to show you, for example, the first one. This is going to be copied from here. You know what? Yep, let me just do those two. Copy those two. Of course, you're going to have to apply this to all of them. You come in this area here, you put it this way, you take this one away, you go down, take this one away, you go down. You can come here, you have to type the following. Let me just put it, creature, colon. Okay, you do the same thing here, creature, colon. And since there's a string here to set, I'll just go ahead and type. Or you can just type it as a TP or TYP. TYP, since I didn't talk about this keyword, I'm just going to go and put it as type, uppercase T. And this is basically means you're just going to have to come here and say type equal type. You're setting whatever type is to the original type that you have here, which is, where's it? Where's type? Here it is. Okay, you're going to have to do the same thing for all these variables with the setters. Now in the creature here, this is the part that's going to be very, very long. I'm going to do it. I explained everything inside your inside the Word document. Now, the part that I didn't cover before is this part. I'm supposed to give those values. They're static. They need to have values. So I'm going to copy them. I'm going to put them here at the top here. Put it like that. And now I don't think I need to keep them because they're predefined. But look what I'm going to do. Let me copy this and put it here and put this here and put this here. Take this, put it equal, put this equal, and put this equal. Well, he didn't like this one. Let's go ahead and try to fix it. Weaknesses, for example, water. And semicolon here. Nope, he didn't like it. Let's see, why is that the case? Okay, so I just realized that I made a mistake here. Let me just go and fix it. You really don't need to put the sizes in this area. And in this area here, it's important to keep the data type, I forgot that part, to be here. And now you can take the 7 away, take this 7 away, take this 6 away, and you do the same thing. Since all of them are going to be strings, I'm just going to put it this way. Control V, Control V. Now, oh, wait a minute, why is he complaining about this? Let me just start by putting test. I just want to make sure that the syntax is correct. Yep, the syntax is actually correct. And in this area here, what he's supposed to do, let me just go back to the file. For example, those are all the creatures, so I'm going to copy them. And I'm going to put them here. And of course, you need to come and put semicolons, double quotations for each one of them. So you get that part covered. Yeah, of course, there's no and here. Put a comma here. And let's go ahead and do that really quick. Control C, Control V, Control V. Control V. So here we go. Those are my static arrays. You're just going to have to apply the same concept for the weaknesses and the creatures. Now, in this area here, let's just go. I'm going to explain the creature part. As I said, in this creature part, this is what you need to do. And I think it was explained here. Most of the data members need to be initialized randomly. So let's go ahead. First of all, I'm asking you to use the settings for that purpose. Also here, use the 3 static arrays to assign values of the type, attack, and weaknesses. Now, if I go back here, each one of those arrays, they have a number of elements inside them. So you need to pick a randomly selected value from an array. Do your research and find out, how do I randomly select an element from an array? So you need to randomly select a value from here and value from here and value from here. And those values that's going to be randomly selected are going to be assigned to the type, the strength, and the weaknesses. Right after that, you're going to have to check if the creature you created is a boss or not. Randomly select between false and truth. So that's another random. Now, if you choose a boss that is if you choose a creator that is a boss. Now, whether it's a boss or not, life should always start with true. He's alive at the beginning of creating it. But the size and the health and the attack. Let me try to look here. Attack. I forgot what was the attack all about. So the values, where's the boss? If the creature is a boss, the size and health must be 100. Yes, just the size and health. Okay? Live variable should be true. What was this attack? Oh, this is a type of attack. Okay, so that's a random value. It's not mentioned here, right? Yep. Attack. Oh, those are the attack types. Do I have attack? Oh, here it is. Let me see here. So weaknesses and strength and type. This is creature, type, weaknesses, and attack. Strength. Oh, the order here is, I forgot about the order here. So let me try to go back here. We have the creature, which is the type, the weaknesses, and the attacks. So the attacks actually, yeah, the attacks will have a value to be assigned to as a string. The strength, let me think about the strings. Did I mention anything about the strength here? Oh, second array, I talked about how strong that, first of all, you want to set the size, the health, and the strength. Since I never mentioned the strength anywhere here, feel free to take that off. Let me just do that right now. I'm going to take the strength away, set the strength away. Let me just go back here. 1, 2. Let me look if that is actually mentioned anywhere. So it's here, it's here, it's here. Okay, the value of strength. Okay, the default. Oh, here it is. The value of strength, size, and health should be between how strong he is, the size of the and the health. Okay, so those three values are going to be set. I just forgot about that. Those three values are going to be set to randomly. It makes more sense if I move the attack to be close to those three. Okay, I'll just keep it as it is. So yes, in those constructor, as I said, let me go back here. If you chose a boss, then the strength, no, the strength is gonna get a random value, still a random value, but the size and the health will be set all the way to 100. If he's not a boss, then these two variables plus this variable will get a random value between 25 and actually 100. Attacks and weaknesses and types are going to be assigned using those three different variables. So you can see here, this is how it works. Once you're done with all these setters and getters, this is the challenging part. The string is not a challenging. Attack and get attacked are a little bit the whole point of this project. So the bottom line here, it looks like it's long, but if you work on it and try to break it down into pieces, it should not be that complicated. So I hope this explanation helped a little bit. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll try my best to help.